Welcome to Mad About Business. I'm Maddy Alexander-Grout, and this is my solo podcast where I talk about business and all of the stuff that's going on in my journey and my life. And it's basically my little cathartic way of helping people, getting my stuff out into the world and talking to people about business stuff. So I often get asked, what should you share online and what shouldn't you share online? And first of all, I just want to say that the word should go in the fuck it bucket, because the word should it's a pressure. It's a societal thing. It's a shit word that definitely deserves to go in the fuck it bucket. So we're going to throw that away first of all. There is no should or shouldn't of what you should post online. There really isn't. There is definitely what can you post online? What are you willing to post online? And, what do you feel comfortable with posting online? So there are certain things that you won't hear me talking about online. I don't talk about my sex life. I don't talk about my husband. I barely talk about my kids. They feature in some of my videos sometimes, but I don't talk about their inner secrets. I don't talk about the way they are as humans, because it's not my place to talk about them in that way on the internet. I show us having fun or going for days out, or if they've had a really nice achievement or something that I want to remember, I will share that online. But I will never talk about the way that their thoughts, feelings, and emotions show up, because that is not my place. And when they get older, as teenagers, I don't want them to look back and go, "Mummy, you were such a dickhead for sharing all my life on social media," because it's not very fair. So you won't hear me talking about that. I barely talk about my husband online because he's a really private person. He doesn't like having his photo online. He doesn't like being in videos. He's he's a good-looking chap, but he doesn't like the camera, and he just accepts that that's my life and not his. I don't talk about my family much. I talk about my journey, my personal things that affect me as a human. Sometimes I get it wrong. Sometimes I get it wrong. We all get it wrong from time to time. But I talk about things that are, for me, things that I feel comfortable with sharing. And I always say, share the scar, not the wound. So if you are going through something and it's deeply traumatic and you are having a really shit time of life, and you are not somebody who is used to openly sharing, the thing with me, right? I have been so openly visible since my business went under in 2022. I've been so visible that I literally share every vulnerability that I have going. And it's what kind of helps people to get that know, like, and trust about me. It helps people to know that I'm an authentic, genuine human. If I'm struggling, I will tell you. If one of my conditions is flaring up, I will tell you. I will show up authentically as me. But when it comes to other people in their lives and their stories, you're not going to hear me talking about things like that, because it's got no relevance to my business or my journey, really. I mean, yes, it does in my own personal place. But I'm not going to go and share things that I don't feel are relevant. But when it comes to my chronic conditions, when it comes to hidden disabilities, when it comes to things that I'm struggling with in business or with my finances or my personal life, I share those because it helps people to identify with me and my story. If people see themselves in my story, then they'll be like, "Oh, Maddy totally gets it. I want to feel supported and seen." So they will come and hang out with me because they know that I understand the things that they're going through. So that's why I share those things. But you have to have boundaries when it comes to what you share online. Think about the things that affect other people. Think about things, for example, if you've done loads of criminal activity in your past, maybe don't share those kinds of things online. Don't share anything that's going to get you into trouble. Don't share things that you are, not an expert in. So if it's something you're going through, yourself, then do that. Share the things that you are comfortable with sharing. If there's something in the press that you are an expert on, that you can comment on, talk about it. But if it's not in your wheelhouse, you don't have to show up and talk about something if it's not something that you personally feel comfortable about. So, for example, I have lots of trans people, lots of queer people in my community. I am not trans, and I don't really identify as queer. I have in the past dibble-dabbled with the ladies, but not really anything serious. I'm married to a man. I am a straight woman, really, with a little bit of queer tendencies. But it's not my wheelhouse. It's not something that I am really like in the knowledge about. I went on a trans pride march. I go to Pride. I will share things like that, but I can't share the innermost, deep, darkest stories and secrets because I don't really have any to share. But it's just an example of, like, you know, people, like, I will talk about these things and I will support the people who are going through them. Like, I help people who have got hidden struggles to show up in their business, and I help people to feel seen, heard, and understood. It doesn't always mean that I have been through those things and that I really can understand. I can never understand how somebody must feel when they have suffered racial abuse. I can never understand how somebody who is trans is feeling when people come at them. I never can understand that. I can only understand things from my point of view. As a supportive ally and inclusive person, I can only see those things from my incredibly privileged white cis background. You know, I am very much aware of that. But I do have my own hidden struggles. You know, I'm disabled. I have lots of neurodivergent conditions, lots of hidden disabilities. I have, you know, things that go on in my background that I don't necessarily publicly talk about. But it is down to you what you feel comfortable with, what you want to share, how you present yourself online. And, you know, if there is something that is going on in the press that massively affects your audience, if you don't feel comfortable or confident talking about that thing, go and support the people who are talking about that thing. Help to support them. Show your love. Like their posts, comment on their posts. Just because you're not actively talking about it doesn't mean that you don't care. It's just that maybe you can't identify as much as you'd like to. So just think about, like, how comfortable you are with sharing things online. Set those boundaries for yourself. Think about what you want to talk about. Stick to your content pillars. You know, if you are talking consistently about the content, you know, the 4 things that you want to be known for, you will attract the right people. But your values, your morals, they should come into it. So if you are supportive of a movement or something that's going on in the press or something that's happening to change people's lives, if you feel comfortable about it, talk about it. If you don't, don't. But never feel any shame for not talking about things if they're not really in your wheelhouse. That's kind of all I've got to say today. But my main message was share the scar, not the wound. So if you have healed from something, you feel like you can talk about it without traumatizing yourself, crack the fuck on and never, ever, ever feel like you should be talking about things online or you shouldn't be talking about things online because of what other people say. Do you, and do you with pride. Lots of love. If you're not following me already, Maddy Talks Money on Instagram, Mad About Money Official on TikTok. And I will see you next time. Make sure you hit the subscribe button.